Hello, all you folks out there in YouTube land. I'd been working on the game review for this week, and a check of my email this afternoon revealed a shitstorm of such epic proportions that I feel the need to speak out. I was hoping not to have to do this again, feminists. But you've stepped well past the line you set yourselves the first time, and are now halfway to Andromeda on your bullshit train. For starters, what the fuck is the hashtag StopGamerGate 2014? As many of my subscribers are no doubt already aware, the mainstream media has decided to weigh in on the topic of Gamergate, and to do that, they interviewed one Bayonetta, a feminist game designer that received what looked like threats from another individual. We're expected to ignore her reporting of the tweet of the death threat to Twitter at large several minutes before the last tweet with the actual death threat turned up. It's an echo of a similar situation some months ago wherein Anita Sarkeesian did the same thing, and got away with it. Prior to this trumpeting of the victim card, Bayonetta was a virtual unknown to most in the industry or fan base. Today, she's the poster child for the oppressiveness of men, and of the misogyny of Gamergate. This is bullshit of the highest order. Media coverage of Gamergate has been poor since day one, and more than one person has been savaged by the gaming media. The game journos continue to bite the hands that feed them, delivering hit piece after hit piece, and reacted violently when Intel pulled ads from Gamma Sutra. The rhetoric ratcheted up to 11, and created a circumstance in which Bayonetta could pull this stunt. Now for what it's worth, Bayonetta herself is irrelevant except as a catalyst for what came after. I make no judgments about her games or character beyond what she did to get the attention of MSNBC, and therefore the rest of the mainstream media. The narrative being written is that all users of the hashtag are vile, misogynistic men with an agenda to run women out of gaming forever. There is nothing further from the truth. The vast majority of people involved with the movement have been inclusive to any that wish to take up the banner regardless of other interests or classification. To those against, there is some degree of hostility, but that's to be expected to those that spend their time demonizing the people on the other side. That is what's happening here. The people supporting Gamergate, a consumer movement to push for ethics and transparency in video games journalism, is being demonized by the people that would much rather focus on social justice than video games. I even have a recent example for you. Have a look at the Metacritic reviews of the game Bayonetta 2. Starting from the top, you see several outlets positively glowing about the game, with raves about solid controls, nicely designed combat mechanics and levels, and even a multiplayer that's not complete arse. As you go further down, you have to reach near the bottom to find anyone with anything bad to say. About the time you hit KOH2 on the list, they start whining about Bayonetta's primary character, a witch whose outfit is made of weaponized hair, the camera angles to show it off, the way bits of it come off to make attacks, and etc. Even most of those stick to the mechanics and gameplay for the most part, and while mentioning this thing they seem to find distasteful, get over it pretty quickly. Enter Arthur Giles, reviews editor for Polygon and all-round blackguard. He does say some nice things about the game, mostly parroting his colleagues. However, he spends the largest part of his review railing about the character and her assets, going so far as to give a few rather graphic descriptions of the outfit and placement of the camera. He then went on to give it the lowest positive score he thought he could get away with. There were 2 reviews lower than this, both of which avoided any mention of this. What I found most telling of this review was this, and I'll take the words out of his own mouth. Bayonetta 2's blatant over-sexualization puts a big dent in an otherwise great game. This leads me to believe that you put a huge dent in what might have been a perfect score for this reason alone. While I can respect you not liking this particular aspect, I have a hard time fathoming why you'd dock it that far over it. The issue you have is with the character and the art design. The sexualization you're prattling on about is part and parcel of this particular character, and her design and character details haven't changed since the previous game in the series. You got a review copy of the Bayonetta game, and I have to ask, what did you expect? This game series has the same sort of controversy attached to it as Tomb Raider does, and I doubt strongly many of the people bitching today had this sort of problem with Lara then. I certainly didn't. I saw a female character standing her ground and taking the fight to the enemy, rather than sitting there wailing with her thumb in her mouth waiting for some random dickhead to come and save her. Same with Alice in a little-known, seldom referenced game on the Sega Master System by the name of Phantasy Star. She launched her adventure alone after the death of her brother at the hands of Lassic, and the entity that controlled him, Dark Force. She's joined in her quest by a cat-like creature, a man with a massive axe, and a mid with a weak constitution. 3 planets, deep dungeons, and no complaint. She gets down to business and gets the job done. We have a rich history of these sorts of characters, and Bayonetta is one of them. Today, though, Bayonetta 2 releases into a hotbed of strife, brought on by the likes of Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, and now Brianna Wu, a woman we know has made sock puppet accounts with the intention of causing strife on Twitter. I've myself seen copies of tweets posted in which she introduces the sock, and admits to creating it for what end. Brianna fingered GamerGate for the threats in question, when not a single tweet had the GamerGate hashtag on it. Also caught in the trap was Infinite Chan, which resulted in a savage verbal attack on its administrator during a HuffPost live interview. All the coverage I've seen thus far from the mainstream media has all been about Brianna Wu, and the threats that can't be connected to anyone but a single crazy with a new account on Twitter. Assuming, of course, that the tweets weren't issued by Brianna herself, as I think is at least plausible, and I've come to the conclusion it's reasonably likely. She's on the television now, whining like a spoiled little girl and accusing everyone under the sun of trying to run her and other women out of the industry. GamerGate isn't doing that, and as Hot Wheels said, Infinite Chan isn't about Brianna. The world doesn't revolve around her, or Anita, or Zoe, Rebecca Watson, or Adriana Richards. They're speaking to the rest of the world as if their opinion is the only one that should matter, and the tactics and rhetoric they use is commonly used by psychological warfare operatives to get information from a prisoner of war. The use of command language is an art nearly as old as humanity itself, and it results in control over those who won't ask too many questions, or those whose interests align in even the most passing way. You want evidence of corruption in the media? You have it. Don't make threats. GamerGate. Build solid evidence, and send it to the mainstream media. Send it to the companies that advertise on the websites. Be respectful, be polite, and don't touch the feminist propaganda. It's not about women, and it never was. Zoe Quinn and her bullshit was only the straw that broke the camel's back. If you really want to hit the websites where it hurts, when buying the games, fill out the post-purchase surveys, and when they ask for additional information, express your displeasure with a review or policy therein. Believe me, the PR people will look at those things, and if there are enough of them, take action. Envision what would come of 100,000 complaints about the example I gave above, all on a direct line to Nintendo's PR and marketing departments from people that had to prove they'd bought the game. What message would that send? As for Infinite Chan and Hot Wheels, stay the course. As I understand your description of your server behavior, if the post is still up, then the data can be retrieved, and that puts impetus on people reporting to do so in a timely manner, rather than taking to Twitter and going off to play the victim card. As for you stupid girls with nothing better to do than push an agenda, from one woman to another, fucking stop it. They're not after you, or at least not the ones with brains. If you get shit from stupid people, then get on the phone, call your local police department, and let them handle it. This vigilante bullshit you're doing is making you look like a pack of howler monkeys with nothing better to do than fling their own steaming feces at the passers-by and hope that they hit someone important. If you want to discuss what's going on, then discuss. Otherwise, all you're doing is creating a panic in any woman that comes in contact with the material. You want to be treated with respect and dignity? Stop being the aggressor. I'm starting to think some of you are men with really good plastic surgeons. You're certainly acting the part. Finally, for you journalists in the mainstream media that are giving that woman airtime, when you want to balance a story, Take statements from both sides before writing your opening, and invite someone to join you that are in the middle of this train wreck. Adam Baldwin, Mundane Matt, Internet Aristocrat, Saigon Navigate, or Christina Hoff Summers. There are 100 others with the in-depth knowledge you need to build the properly balanced report. Because right now, your bias is showing, and that's bad form. Your ethics professors should have told you that long ago. I'm willing to bet they're ashamed to have met you.